Ubisoft currently has, oh my god, dude, it hurts to read this. I'll be completely honest with you. Ubisoft currently has 11 Assassin's Creed games planned. So I'm guessing they're talking about, Mirage is about to release within the next, what is it, September? Is it a September date or is it October? I think it's one of those. Mirage is going to release. We already know they've got like at least 3 other games that are currently in development. Thanks, Tim, and I'll read that and get you hit on it in just a second. So we know they have at least 3 other games in development, being well into project development, right? And I'm assuming they're including a lot of this as games planned. So take that out. Take 4 games that we're currently aware of out of the games planned. That still leaves 7 games, dude. That still leaves 7 more Assassin's Creed games that they're planning on pushing out right now. Yeah, Timwin, for sure. Here's the deal. Ubisoft's struggling right now. As a large developer, they've had a rough 2 to 3 years. Past 2 to 3 years have been pretty rough for Ubi. They don't really have anybody to blame but themselves, but I think that you're seeing a heavy lean by them on one of the biggest titles that has been successful for them over the years, But this is they're not the only company that does this thing, but man, they're one of the better examples of it. And I don't know how anybody gets hyped about Assassin's Creed anymore at all. For anybody that's ever been a fan of Assassin's Creed, how do you get hyped about the fact that they just pop these things out so fast, man? How it's like they don't give you any time to actually get excited about it. And for anybody that hasn't taken a dive into this series, it's daunting. It's a daunting thing. Even if you did feel like you wanted to start trying to experience these games, it's too much, dude. I don't know. I think to an extent, maybe Timwin, this is what I think their bigger problem is. Their bigger problem is probably some of the result of that, right? So I think that what has happened is they have gotten bad at being able to do anything different. They've gotten so tunnel visioned in on the things that they've done for so long, like Assassin's Creed, Tom Clancy stuff, Far Cry. Not that they don't have some others. They've got like Just Dance, stuff like that. They've got some other stuff too. But it feels like they've gotten so tunnel visioned in on certain things that they've done for such a long time, they have a really hard time stepping outside of that box, right? We've seen them trying to do other stuff that just doesn't work, and I don't know exactly what their deal is, but I'll be completely, I really don't ever plan on jumping into Assassin's. It's just too much, dude. I know that they've made some very, very good Assassin's Creed games, from what I understand of the past. And I remember when Assassin's Creed first came out, they just hit their 15th anniversary. But dude, even last year hitting their 15th anniversary, at that point, they had 12 mainline games and 17 spinoffs. And now they're talking about 11 more games planned. Good flipping night, dude. It is so saturated. I fail to believe that you're actually getting good creative content, unique, creative, good quality experience into most of this stuff if you're just push it out. And that for me is like, I don't really care to dive into it. So I know a lot of people love Assassin's Creed, and for me, it's just like the more I hear about, the more they're leaning so heavily on this and want to push more and 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 more out. I don't care to dive into it at all. Big expensive open world games that people is caring less and less about. Rayman games once more half price be so well. Look, we actually just hit on the fact too. It's funny, we hit an article yesterday. Lost the hype after Black Flag. Dude, we just hit a rumor this morning that there's a rumor going around that Black Flag is actually getting remade too. Not like a complete remake. So that might be part of this. Um, Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it just looks like a big, it's like, well, this has always been good for us. Let's just do as much of it as we can, try to stay afloat. Yeah. Open world games are just too expensive to produce. Continue to do almost exclusively that. Well, so apparently, so like with Mirage coming out, so they are taking the scope of these games down a bit. Like Valhalla was apparently massive to the point of where most people felt like they couldn't ever really finish the game. It was so flippin' big open world. Okay, Psycho. Yeah, Doug. Yeah, you're probably getting off work. All right, brother. Be safe, dude. Be safe. We'll see you in a bit. Um, Absurdly bloated, right? Yeah, that's what. And there was a lot of feedback from the community to Ubi that was like, "This is too much, dude. It's just there's no point in it being this absurdly." Like you said, Tim, bloated. It's just a bunch of bloat, right? And so now they're like, okay, well, we're trying to get back to the roots of what we were with Assassin's Creed. So Mirage is supposedly they're trying to kind of bring it back into what Assassin's Creed was originally, right? But you know what you talk about up there with like big expensive open world games, care less and less about. I don't know that people care less and less about open world games. People just care less and less about bad open world games. And the fact of the matter is, like we hit on an article yesterday talking about we're getting all this information. There's a bunch of leaked information now because of these badly redacted documents that have come out from Sony in the FTC debacle. But we're finding out exactly how much money Sony's been spending on their AAA games, and we got a lot of reaction from indie developers. And it's like, holy crap! These indie developers are like, you've got to be kidding me! Like, this is how much money's being spent on development of these games. And while some of them are very good, these indie developers are like, dude, I could push out 10 to 20 amazing games with that. Like, I could push out 10 to 20 amazing flipping games with which that's a theoretical kind of a reactionary process to, but that's the difference, right, between like what an indie developer deals with. We talk about that a lot too. Indie developer struggles with the overhead that they need, the capital they need to be comfortable in pushing out their visions, these unique, incredible visions, the passion that they have behind their projects. Whereas the AAA side of things, like, just get a dump truck full of money, pour it on there, and hope things pan out, right? It's like, I know, dude. Yeah, for sure. And so I don't know. It's a weird state. It's a weird thing, I think, in the industry. And I think with Ubi, it's they've been struggling for 2 to 3 years. I mean, even last year, beginning of last year, even they were being one of the more touted businesses to be bought out. And honestly, I think if they do get bought out, it'll be like somebody like Tencent that actually has already invested a lot in their company. And it's not because they want to take their development process. They want their titles. You know what I mean? It's that Embracer mentality. That's what Embracer does. Embracer takes over a lot of companies, not because they want the development side of it. They've already got the development stuff they want. They want the IPs. And that's what Tencent would be after too with somebody like Ubi. Ubi is not in a good place. They've had a lot of bad stuff go on internal. They've had a lot of like poorly done games. You can tell that their internal process is just really not great. You see games like Skull and Bones have been delayed, 7 times? You know what I mean? There's something wrong, man. There's something wrong. And you can see how heavily they're trying to rely on these games that have just been good. people they've built up a big community around them for a long time, but this is not the way to do it, I don't think, man. I think you're really going to start turning people off with you're saturating this IP so heavily. It's just getting so watered down now, you know. It's really, really hard. It's tough to see because I know there are a lot of people out there that love Assassin's Creed. And I think that you're really going to start turning people off by doing this. We'll read the rest of this and see what it has to say. But yeah, you read the title right. Ubisoft currently has 11 Assassin's Creed games planned. Following our exclusive report in February where we revealed the code names, developers, and brief descriptions of 3 more unannounced Assassin's Creed titles like I just talked about. That's aside from Mirage, right, that we know is about to hit. A new report says another title is in the works. The title is a remake of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. That's what I was just talking about. We kind of skimmed over an article this morning that was saying that was a rumor. Yeah, Tim. Yeah, dude. I mean, it's so weird that like so many of us can just see this. How does the business not, you know? Which Insider Gaming was able to independently verify is in development. So an entire remake of Black Flag. When was Black Flag actually released? 2013. So it's 10 years old. 10 years old from release. So the game probably started development like 3 to 4 years before that. So that's one of the things, and I figured that's probably part of what they were talking about here. But look at this. Insider Gaming understands that the remake has only just been greenlit, but comes following our report that the publisher is going all in on the series. But they've been all in on this series. But look at this. Look at this. Every Assassin's Creed game in development. Assassin's Creed Mirage, October, like I said. Assassin's Creed Nexus, 2023, VR production. Codename Jade, mobile, expected this year as well. Codename Red, single player production, next year. Codename Hex, expected 2025 and 2026. Codename Invictus, multiplayer, expected 2025, 2026. Codename Nebula, unknown, single player. Codename Raid, multiplayer, unknown. Codename Echoes, multiplayer, concept prototype, unknown. Nexus 2 VR, unknown. Black Flag remake, just greenlit, single player, unknown. So before I read the rest of this, let's be very honest here. We know that like many big developers have a slew of games always. That's kind of my thing too. That's what I'm going to talk about right here a little bit. Is big developers always have a plethora of games that are in some form of production development, early production. And what happens is there's usually like this filtering that kind of happens, right? Where they start working on the game in certain areas to an extent where they like, all right, this team works on this team works on this team works on this team, and then they bring everybody back together at certain intervals so that the top of the business and everybody can take a look at what's going on, and they go thumbs up or thumbs down. And a lot of these games don't see the light of day. They get scrapped and stuff, right? So I don't know. I mean, I would expect that maybe not all of these are going to hit, right? Because that's the way big developers work. They have a lot of things that get early, concept, start, getting the ball rolling, think tanking stuff and seeing what they can come up with to see if it's going to work or not. If it starts seeming like a good idea, and then they keep going with it a little bit further, and they come back to the table and like that whole thumbs up, thumbs down thing, So we'll have to see if all of these come to fruition or not. But it doesn't negate the fact that you can tell that they are heavy Assassin's Creed. Like I said, I mean, it's not that I've said that Ubisoft's been this way for a long time. it's not necessarily any different. It's just heavier, it seems, right? Um, kind of heavier. But dude, that's dark, Tinwin. That's dark. Um, so like I said, yeah, what was it? Last year, I think, was their 15th anniversary. 12 mainline installments by that point, you know, and 17 spinoffs. There was something. It was something to that effect. And now they've got 11 more in development right now that haven't been released yet. We know Mirage is about to hit. Nexus will be here soon, and it's so much, dude. Ubisoft Sofia, known for co-developing Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation and Assassin's Creed Rogue, has pitched Project Nebula, an Assassin's Creed title that will have 3 different settings: India, Aztec Empire, and Mediterranean. Ubisoft Chengdu has pitched Project Raid, a free-to-play 4-player cooperative title that will be PvE. It's believed that the title's characters will all be from the Assassin's Creed universe. Ubisoft Annecy, known for developing the multiplayer portion of games like Assassin's Creed and Splinter Cell, as well as co-developing the Division 2 with Massive Entertainment, has pitched Project Echoes, which has been described as a multiplayer title that will use Ubisoft Scholar technology. You can read more details on the Assassin's Creed codename Red here, which will feature both a shinobi and a samurai. I don't know. It's just... It's so much, dude. Yeah, I mean that's the way I feel about it too, Tinwin. Yeah. Uh, nice, Poison. Nice. It's good to see you, Poison. Happy Sunday. Um, that's the way I feel about it too, dog. It's just too much, dude. I've said that about Assassin's Creed for a while, or you know, Assassin's Creed and Ubisoft. I've said that about this developer with this series for quite some time, and sometimes I get criticism for it. But for me, it's just, dude, it's felt just too overly saturated and watered down for quite a while. I don't know how anybody can feel hyped about it. You know, I don't, and it's nothing against maybe the quality of their games or anything, but it's just too much, man, too much, dude. And I think it is an indicator that they are having trouble with other IPs in their portfolio, which means that they are going all in right now on Assassin's Creed to try and survive and stay afloat. You know, that's the way it comes off anyways. I have no idea. I'm not an insider there or anything, but it definitely comes off that way, does it not? I mean, it seems like they are struggling to find a way to maintain. And because Assassin's Creed has been their big kind of cash cow IP for so long, they're like, let's just keep making as much of it as possible, just as fast as we can. And I'm sorry, but, and I know they're a big company with a lot of resources and stuff, but I fail to believe that you can make, even as big as your company is, have 11 of these projects going on at the same time and really be pulling in great content on most of them. You know, I just don't believe that. So instead of pulling your resources together, getting maybe a couple of these projects going at a time, few of these projects going at a time, to make sure that you're getting really great content, you know, the best and most resources available to really, I mean, bring the best you can out of this famous, amazing IP. It's more like just get as much of it out as possible is the way it comes off, right? Well, let's see what happens. I don't think that all these will probably come, but even if they do, I mean, it's so much, dude. It's so much.